Welcome everyone to the first episode of 2D4 Damage. This is a show where we'll talk about all things RPGs, everything from games to mechanics, to the lore of the worlds, writing within them, or just our love of dice and minis. I'm Dave, the host. Each week I'll be bringing in a new co-host to discuss a different topic. This week I'm lucky enough to be joined by Derek Gray. Thank you, Derek.
Hi.
We're going to be talking about Dungeons & Dragons Adventurers League, specifically Season 9. So Derek is a really good friend of mine. We've known each other for, 5 years now?
5 years.
Yeah, about 5 years. I've had the pleasure of running conventions all around Utah with him. I'll go ahead and give you some time. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. So my name is Derek Gray. I'm the lead coordinator of the Rocky Mountain RPG Guild. Our motto or our mission is to provide a safe and fun environment for people to enjoy role-playing games, and specifically Dungeons & Dragons Adventurers League. We go through about 11 conventions a year, supporting the players and coordinating with dungeon masters so they can really do what they like to do and not have to deal with the drama or the coordination logistics of running inside a convention.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is that we do have people who come who don't feel comfortable coming to their local game store, but they feel comfortable coming to the conventions, knowing that we're going to be there to provide them that environment. I've also been able to work with you a little bit on things like Jasper's Game Day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And CAPSA.
And CAPSA, yep. We've run several charity groups, charity events, one-day events, which is always fun. We always try to find as many charities as we can, give back to the community doing this.
Right. Well, the last one we did was for Heroes, the one at Salt Lake City Game Day, where we raised over $700.
That's right, yeah. It was,
Hero Mascot. Not Mascot Miracle Foundation.
Mascot Miracle, yep.
And so those guys are great because they go around and they bring like the Jazz Bear and stuff like that to kids that maybe not going to have such a great life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about your personal history with D&D.
So I really started playing Dungeons & Dragons in 8th grade. My first voyage into it was Hollow World with the basic set.
Yep, I was back during the Satanic Panic.
That's right.
Yeah.
In fact, to get into my house, I couldn't have any of the core books because I said Dungeons & Dragons on them.
Yeah.
So the way I got around it was I had my mom buy me the Forgotten Realms box set. And then would slip the photocopied pages of the player's handbook for my friends inside the box.
Nice.
And that was how we were able to make characters and stuff. I'd go to my friends' houses to play D&D, but I was able to have some of my own.
Awesome.
Some of my favorite traps are still based off of the adventure that was in that box set. There's one called Rock, Paper, Scissors. And, the joy of the concept of if you go down the wrong path, you get sliced with little razors, and then you get coated in acid.
Nice.
But if you go on the right one, you don't have a problem. So
that sounds awesome. So what brought you into doing what you're doing now?
So when 5th edition came out, it was actually a local game store. Was looking for a dungeon master to finish up beta testing D&D Next. And I joined in there during the search for the Diamond Staff, right after the Neverwinter one. And I kept playing, and then when the starter set was listed to come out that summer, they were looking for coordinators. I became I threw my hat in the ring and was tapped by the Adventures League admin team to be a regional coordinator in the interim while their current coordinator was trying to resolve some personal items.
Mm-hmm.
After about 2 months, they said, well, he's going to step down. Would you like it? And that's when I became the regional coordinator for D&D Adventures League over Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. Put together a great network of local coordinators. I still work with them. You know some of them, August and Dave Knight. No, you're Dave Knighton.
I'm Dave Knighton.
You were never a local coordinator.
No, Dave Morris.
Dave Morris.
Dave Morris, yeah.
And he came highly recommended from one of the other RCs when he moved into the area.
Mm-hmm.
And really, even, there were some who were a lot like Flo, Flo got into it because he messaged me and said, hey, I wanted you to play AL, but I don't know how. I said, would you like to set up a league in your area and coordinate all of Idaho? And that worked out great until, of course, we had in November of 2 years ago, so that'd be 2017, we were what we call Order 66. So we were all without notice, all the regional coordinators and local coordinators were let go. And we were told, sorry, we never worked, so we weren't let go because we were volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
We were told our services were no longer needed. And we kind of were encouraged to set up our own organizations to continue on with what we were doing. And that's where Rocky Mountain RPG Guild came from, was a way to continue on with the work. Because, we have some great support out there in the community. And we wanted to make sure we had a definable, tangible entity to present.
Perfect. So it's been doing that for 2 years now then.
2 years, yeah. Since, is it only, no, 3 years, because it's been since, Rocky Mountain RPG for 2 years.
2 years, yep.
Coordinating conventions for 5 years.
5 years, yeah. Yeah, when I joined you, we were running season 4.
Season 4,
Season 4.
Fanex.
Yep. So let's go into a little bit about Dungeons and Dragons Adventurers League. What is it for all those people that say I love Dungeons and Dragons, and you say, well, what's DDAL? What is right. this?
So Adventurers League I love it. I'm a big fan because it's something that we all hear the memes, we all hear the jokes. Everybody wants to play D&D, and you find that DM, and that's your unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
So you're all ready to set up and you play that first game and then you all get together and go, okay, when can we play again? And to get your schedules to align to all play again, you've got once a month, once every other month. And then the next month, in fact, I start playing in a game here middle of June.
Mm-hmm.
We played the first game in July. Haven't played since.
Oh.
Everybody still keeps in touch. Hey, can we do it? And it's like, hey, let's do it this weekend. And then, oh, we can't. We're doing this. Oh, we can't. We're doing. And so it keeps getting kicked down the road. Adventures League really solves that because you make a character based on a set of rules that are uniform. And you can take that character anywhere Adventures League play is done. So if you're at a game store and you can drop into a game at the game store they're playing League, and if there's a seat, you can play your character if that tier. Now, the great thing is you can still play, if you have that group at home that you're always able to get together, you can still play League rules and have a League character there. And then you guys can go as a group to conventions or game days like we run, where you can participate in these epic battles, defense of Waterdeep from alien invasions from the Illithids,
The Illithids, yeah.
Things like that. Right. And so these huge epic adventures that you can be part of with your home group.
So let's kind of take a step here. Epic. This is one thing that I get asked all the time. You bring up epic adventures.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about epic adventures in DDAL.
I guess in DDAL, when we use the term epic adventures, it's a multi-table competitive / cooperative adventure. Depending on the adventure being ran, it's either going to be more cooperative, like the Defense of Starbase,
mm-hmm.
or more competitive, like the Waterdeep one, the 7.8-1. Where everybody's trying to cause the biggest racket in Waterdeep.
Yep.
And so...
Or competitive like the new Ghost Tower.
Right. And then we do have competitive, though. So then we have the competitive epics, which are like the Return to the Ghost Tower of Iverness, which is based off the old Greyhawk adventure. Yep. And the last one we did, which was... Oh, man. My brain is racking here. It had Forks Grey in it. We ran it at Salt Lake Gaming Con.
Yeah, we did.
And it was about Waterdeep, and they were in a cube.
Yes.
And when they got out of the cube, they had to had to get Hallister's ring off
mm-hmm.
the Griffin. See, I know the entire adventure.
I know the entire
adventure.
idea
what the what the epic was, but they were out there. And then those ones, just like the old competitive epics from RPGA or Second Edition, where every table, depending on what you do, has points. You have a winning table. And they win prizes.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say epic adventure in AL, we mean something beyond what you'd normally see and experience at your home table.
Okay. So that kind of brings us into what's the real difference between DDAL and homebrew?
So in DDAL, Dungeon Masters take on a unique position where they aren't running as the admins would say, the admins are the dungeon masters of the world of Adventures League. And they peel off a little bit of their ability, or what we normally consider the DM responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
They keep some of that back and peel off the rest for our local DMs, the DMs actually running the games.
Yeah.
So as far as rule abdication, most of the rules, they come up, they publish things like the frequently asked questions and the content catalogs to say, okay, this is the adventures you can run. This is how certain items are handled. Basically, it's in Adventures League, you give up some of that free form experience
Mm-hmm.
for the ability to take your character away from the table.
Okay, so is it really? I always hear the argument it's not D&D. It's not Dungeons and Dragons because you're giving me rules, and Dungeons and Dragons is supposed to be a world where anything can happen.
Right, and I always tell, especially when we have some DMs, we have some great DMs that come and volunteer with us,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually only run homebrew at home. But when they come, they go, okay, they get ready, they get themselves psyched, like, what's the difference? Like, they are ready for the rule smackdown.
Yeah.
And it's really run the adventure as it's written. Use thematically appropriate monsters where necessary. Give the rewards that the adventure lists. And now in Season 9, make sure you don't exceed the gold per level limit.
Okay. So Season 9, let's talk a little bit about seasonality.
Okay?
There's
nothing in
season 9
seasonality. Seasonality is bad.
Well, seasonality is seasonality in the sense that we're on Season 9, and
Right.
is the way that it's run, and so we're on the 9th storyline. What has been the previous adventures up to this point?
So, I always admit that if I lived in Forgotten Realms, I would move away from the Sword Coast.
Just move away.
Just move away. Find somewhere, anywhere else in the realms to live. Cormyr, Purple Dragon Knights, solid economy, great place to live. So, Season 1, the Sword Coast was attacked by the Horde of the Dragon Queen.
Mhm.
In fact, that's the adventure. The dragon, I guess they weren't attacked by the Horde. Purple Dragon Knights
Yep.
and Horde of the Dragon Queen.
Yep.
Second adventure was the Princes of the Apocalypse, which is where the Elemental Princes tried to bring their elemental planes to desert dominion over Faerun. The third season was Princes of the Apocalypse, which, just like, no. Second season, Prince of the Apocalypse. Third season was Into the Abyss.
Into the Abyss.
Out of the Abyss. It's out of the Abyss.
Out of the Abyss.
Because the Demon Lords exited the Abyss and terrorized the Underdark. And that was a great adventure chain to play through. The book was really nice. Had a great DM that we played it all over Fantasy Grounds. The only campaign I've played in end to end.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, we had Storm King's Thunder, which was the first real sandbox type style adventure, I'd say, out of all of them that didn't have you have to go here, then to here, then to here.
Yeah.
And that one started showing some of the weaknesses with AL, with the random item tables and things like that.
Yeah.
Then we had Season 6, which was a called throwback to all of the great stuff, the Tomb of Annihilation, the Tomb of Horrors, the Shrine of Temo-Chan, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Season 7, we went to Chult with Tomb of Annihilation. And then Season 8 was back in Waterdeep. And I liked that one because it had the Halaster Blackcloak was back with the Undermountain in the Dungeons of the Mad Mage.
Yep.
And that was really a fun experience to go through. We ran it, I actually DM'd. That was the one I almost DM'd all the way through before my group fell apart. And we did the game show alternative. And that's the great thing about AL. So we did the game show alternative setup, which you can find on DM's Guild. But the adventure was still the same adventure. Throwing in a trap that had no mechanical benefit or change to the game, but the players loved it, didn't make it not a hit. So as a DM, I could still put my influence into the adventure. And hardcovers are really where that still shines, is the DM is able to still craft within a box. It's kind of like saying a sandbox. You have a sandbox, but because there's edges, it's not D&D.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest complaints that I hear about this. Now, me personally, I still feel that there's enough freedom within the rules as they're written for Dungeons and Dragons Adventurers League, that you still have DM choice. They still give you freedom to
Right.
make, to run your table.
Yeah, a lot of the articles on dndadventuresleague.org, they call it DM empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, there's still a lot there. And the key things, though, and the big problem I hear that really stops people is the character creation options, the reward options. The DM wants to be able to hand a Vorpal sword to his players. He wants
You can't
to
have a first level Vorpal sword on the table. Come
you
on.
know, exactly.
So, as far as you started talking a little bit there about the character creation,
Right.
so this is another thing that really sets AL apart from a homebrew.
Right. And I'll be honest, having grown up playing D&D, one of my favorite things was to roll those dice for the stats.
Yeah.
And you'd always get your friends together and you'd be like, "Oh, I got 4 stats under 10." And you'd be like, "That's fine. I'll go play that character for one game. Kill him off."
Right? Or I got a 3 on this one. That's what do I do here?
Yeah, great. I'm as smart as a slug.
Yeah.
And so it was always fun to go into that next game and just try to kill off your character so you could roll again. And then the DM would start realizing that was the case. And so you're just like, yeah, just reroll.
Just reroll.
And so you either got you got widely powerful characters, but it was always fun to be the power character.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what a lot of people remember about playing D&D from back when they were younger or back when they were playing it with the dice, was this powerful character with other powerful characters that could all do everything.
Yeah.
League play, you either need to use point buy or the standard array. 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8.
Mm-hmm.
I've made enough characters now to help
you know how to
people
do it. Yep.
I know the standard
I know
array.
the standard array. That's right.
And I'll be honest, recently when you invited me to roll dice for a character, I was afraid. Straight up.
It's like
I don't want it. Don't give me the array. If I roll, if it's all 18s or the standard, give me the standard array, because it might not be all 18s. It might be all 3s.
That's the fun part about it. And that's what makes it a role play game. It's like, that's what you rolled. You got to play that character now.
Right.
That's why I love seeing those 3s come up. It's like, oh man, that's just terrible. But hey, that's
the way
the dice giveth, the dice taketh away.
And so, when you make a character, that's the big difference, is that you use those point buys or the standard array. It also means that your no starting stat will ever be higher than 17.
Yeah.
It means you got room to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that a lot of players have consternation with is the +1. So in Adventurers League, you can build any character from the player's handbook and one other allowed hardcover or rules resource. So you can build one. So this season is Avernus Rising, and you can play a tiefling. Now you can play a tiefling from Xanthar's Guide, which is your +1. Or you can play an Aasimar, which is your +1.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also play the player's handbook tiefling with a class from, I'm trying to think, a storm sorcerer, and from Prince of the Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a +1. So they get kind of grumpy. Sorcerers and warlocks, really, because that means they're limited to what rule sources their spells can come from,
as well as only from that +1. Yeah.
Wizards have a little bit of opportunity to bypass that. That's why I like wizards. That's why you don't like my wizards. So yeah, but when you create your character, you having those basic rules, and some people don't like the documentation option. That's the other one I've heard complained recently. I can't complain because it's extra life.
Yeah.
Money for kids.
That's right.
And the league admins are releasing character options for $200.
Mm-hmm.
So you can play a flump domain cleric, which I would love, but not $200 for.
That's right. So, but you can. They have the option there. The admins are great. They're really heavily involved in extra life.
They are, and they're involved in the campaign. They want it to succeed, and so they're not going to make something overly powerful.
Yeah.
And then give it to someone who wants to pay a bunch of money. I think that's the important thing.
Yeah. They're about the adventure at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's what the admins are really good about. So I think the biggest thing that I've heard complaints about is why are we still doing +1 when there's this constant increase? There's this growing list of +1 books, and that's when I start talking to people about character creation. That's one that I run into the most. How do you get around that when you hear that complaint?
So I'm an old white guy. There's no way to get around that. And so I lean back on my old white guy experience. When 3rd edition was out, 3.5, every convention, every game day that I went to for RPGA, I drug a suitcase with me. And it was a standard suitcase with like a duffel. It had the standard suitcase handle with a duffel bag. And so you'd unzip the duffel bag and there'd just be a stack of books. And that would be because I'm the DM.
Yeah.
So when someone sits down and goes, oh, wait, how does this feat from this book with this skill with the synergy bonus from this equal here? I could pull out the 12 books that they just referenced and look at it. From the coordinator side, I'm so glad that DMs don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
They do need to know a lot of stuff because it's still, but they don't have to worry about those broken combinations that really, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. Those broken combinations add to the toxicity of a table. Mm-hmm. The potentiality of toxicity at the table. Where you get people who, well, why aren't you playing the big one right now that is available? It's Coffee Lock.
Coffee Lock. Yeah.
Why aren't you playing a Coffee Lock? If you're playing a sorcerer or a warlock, you should play both.
Yeah.
Never end up. And I've seen players who come to our tables who have that build, who they do it for one game. And they realize it's not fun. Mm-hmm. And it's been really interesting to run tier 4 games as the tier 4 players have realized that as they've got these huge, backed, powerful characters, that it's not as fun as when they're at tier 3 and they could still be killed. One of the big, I recently ran a tier 4 table at the Salt Lake Gaming Con, and the biggest feedback I got was, oh my gosh, we all nearly died. And I loved it.
Yeah. Because
to them, they realize their characters aren't all powerful and immortal, that they can still be killed. And I know we strayed away from the original question, but that's one of the great things about it, So when they come into the +1, and they say, well, why not? I just say, well, the rules say it doesn't. Mine's measurably, you get paid more money than I do, because I don't get paid anything to run these.
Right.
Have felt that it keeps the entry bar low enough, because you don't have those complicated builds.
Yeah.
And as anything that we can do to improve access to the game, I'm for. And I remember sitting down playing a game. I won't say the game. And I had made a character. I had the base book. Mm-hmm. I'd been away from gaming when I used to run my game store, it first came out, and then I kind of left it when I closed my store. And I went to a convention, had a character made. I was all excited. I sat down, and I got told that character won't survive in this game. I said, that's okay. I want to have fun. No. Because you're sitting at the table won't survive the game. And then I was given an appropriate character. Here, play this. And I've never seen the character, and it was one of those that uses 12 source books. And I'm like, what do I do? And basically the person next to me said, do this, do that, do this. And that turned me off from the game. And that solidified the fact that I don't like these complicated entries. Mm-hmm. And so AL keeping it low, keeping it easy makes me happy.
I like that. Opening it up to more people.
Yeah.
And with the +1, it makes it more available to anyone that wants to come in and play. Even if all you have is just the standard rules that are available for free,
right? You
can still create a character, come in, sit down, and have fun with somebody that has a bookshelf like mine or yours.
Right, exactly.
So let's go ahead and jump right into season 9. Let's jump into season 9 and the changes.
Avernus Rising.
Yes.
So
you have a whole stack.
I have a whole stack.
The whole thing here.
The whole thing. I printed it all off. So this is all available for free on dmsguild.com. Mm-hmm. It's the Adventures League Players Resource. And it comes with things like this. Top part is the frequently asked question that just was updated here last weekend. And It answers a lot of the basic questions. My whole thing is on the part 4, the event organizing questions.
Yeah.
But so let me grab where is it? So the big things that changed was the conversion. If you've got a character from Season 8, so Season 8 had treasure points and advancement points. Season 9 gets rid of both. So if you're watching this now and you have treasure points left, sorry, they're all gone.
They're all gone.
If you knew about it before the 16th, you were able to convert all those treasure points to gold, and you got a bunch of gold. But that actually hurts you. I'll tell you why. So Season 9 created a gold maximum per level.
Mm-hmm.
And that meant that I'm going to get this so I can actually reference it for you. Let's see. Because I want to be able to give you the correct one. So level, let's see, there we go. Player's got it.
Somewhere.
There we go. So first level, you have 80 gold per level for tier 1.
Tier 1.
So that means by the time you're 5th level, you should be able to accumulate 400 gold. Now, what that means is that if you're playing an adventure, if you're running through, so we've got the Escape from Elturel adventures, the 1-hour adventures that just released to the stores.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of the DMs who play at stores have those available to them now. If you're running one of the 1 hour, say the City of Danger, the 1 hour from Season 2,
yep.
I can put gold in there. I can give you a locket worth 14 gold. I can give you a trade bar if the adventure went long enough. 20 gout, there's a limit of 20 gold per hour or 10 minimum. So at the end of the hour, if you haven't earned 10 gold, you earn 10 gold. But now when the thief comes and says, I'm going to pickpocket the guard, we don't have to be like, oh, the guard has no lunch money.
Right.
You pickpocket the guard the day before payday.
Right. Broke.
Right.
He's got no walking around money.
Exactly.
Just no cash.
So now, though, you can reward him. And opened up, it means a little more work. But at the end of the adventure, if you're still a DM that just wants to do the bare minimum, you can say, all right, adventure over, you all earn 10 gold.
10 gold. Per hour.
Per hour.
So if it's a 2 hour adventure, here's your 20 gold.
Exactly.
Okay.
But it gives more freedom.
Okay.
However, if you redeemed all your, say you're level 4 and you redeemed all your treasure points, and now you're sitting around with 350 gold. You can only earn 50 more gold from level 4 to level 5. So
that means you're limited as far as what you
right. So that means when
everybody's playing adventures and everyone else gets their
gold,
and you're like,
you've hit your cap.
I'm full. My pouches.
Right. Your pouch hasn't gotten bigger. The other big conversion is on magic items. Mm-hmm. So in Season 8, you had magic item unlocks. So if you played an adventure and there was a Sword of Wounding or a Parapet of Healing, you unlocked the ability to buy that from some ethereal warehouse.
The ethereal, the ethereal Phi Chen travels around.
Around. And you would accrue treasure points to buy them. Mm-hmm. Well, when Season 9 came, all of those unlocked items became actual items. So your bag instantly was flooded with all these items.
Yeah.
But Season 9 has a limit of how many magic items you can have per tier. That really does scale back a lot of that. I hate to say power stacking.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even a lot of my characters in Tier 1 have 2 magic items. But maximum is 1. Mm-hmm. So I can choose one of those 2 items to hold on to. So if I've unlocked 10 items, I can choose one of those 10 items to hold on to. And then when I hit the next tier, so when I go to Tier 2, I get 2 items. Excuse me, 3 items.
3 items.
So out of that whole bucket of the list I unlocked in Season 8, now that I've tiered changed, I can grab items out of there up to my maximum, and then it all disappears. So say I'm tier 3, and I have powerful magic items.
Yeah.
But now I've benefited from a Tome of Knowledge, and I've gotten a wish from the luck blade out of Strahd. Mm-hmm. So I've got 2 stat increases. Now stat increases count as your magic items.
Oh.
But in conversion, I can strip those if I want. Or when I hit Tier 4 and I get 10 magic items total, I can keep two of my 2 stat item boosts from my magic items, and then I get 8 more.
Okay.
But then anything else I've unlocked,
So anything that you have previously is gone.
Gone.
Forever.
But the great thing is they're not saying you have to get rid of them now. They're saying you have to choose 1, or choose 3, or choose 6, or choose 10. And then once you hit that cap, once you tier over, now they're gone.
Okay.
So
if you're holding, if you have, you can pick one for now. Like, so let's say you have let's say you have a level 3 character.
Okay.
Or let's say you have a level 4 character.
Right.
I've got 5 items.
Yep.
Currently with my character.
Yep.
So with these new rule changes, out of those 5 items, I have to take one that I'm going to play with, and the rest of them are just locked, essentially.
Right.
They're in a box until I hit level 5. Then at level 5, I can go back to the box and I can pick 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I pick those 2, the box closes and the others are gone. The
Gone
other 2
forever.
are gone forever.
Yep, they're gone forever.
That's a nice...
So it gives you, people say, well, I don't know what one. Well, then you get a couple games to play to decide out of all these ones what you're really lacking.
Mm-hmm.
I joke I've got a Blade Dancer Wizard with a Ring of Spell Storing, a Belt of Hill Giant Strength, and a Magic Sword. At tier 1.
At tier 1. That's not needed.
And, it's one of those things of when I hit tier 2, which I'll do pretty quickly here now, I can choose to keep all of those, or I can choose to keep something that I just got. And that's the other great thing. So if you're in an adventure and you've got a +1 sword and you're at your max cap and a +2 sword or an armor or shield drops, you can claim that even if it's over your limit. But you have to give up something.
You have to give up something.
Yep.
Okay.
And so that's the other great thing is it's not, it's not a forever. It's until you get something better.
Okay. That's nice. So what are other big changes that come with Season 9? Anything else? Or?
Yeah, so with the new magic item style comes death. Death. So before Seasons 8, if you died before level 5, your faction would resurrect you. Mm-hmm. If you died after level 5, you better hope you had a pack of a gem and some gold to pay for a resurrection.
Yeah.
So your party could resurrect you. When we ran 5chan, one of the big things people would buy is a scroll of Revivify.
Yeah.
So they'd keep a scroll of Revivify and a diamond on them so that they could be resurrected or revivified as soon as they went down by a cleric in the group. And they hoped they had a cleric in the group.
They had a cleric in the group.
And, or raised dead for the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little bit better because then they could have someone outside use the scroll. So now you can burn a slot.
You can
burn a slot. So you die in tier 1. You only have 1 magic item slot.
Oh.
You can burn it. You can be resurrected.
Ah.
And when you get to tier 2, you gain that slot back.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a permanent burn.
Gone forever, but you are feeling that.
Your
magic is gone. You died.
Right.
Okay.
What's great though is that at tier 1, raised dead is fine for you.
Yeah.
Usually. Tier 2, unless you really made some big mistakes, a raised dead is still good. Maybe a resurrection. It's not until you get to tier 3 that you're looking to fund that true resurrection from the disintegration ray or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But all of them cost 1 magic item slot.
Okay.
And so, there's a few things that can take your character out of league games still in Season 9. One of those, not spoiling, is from the last call at the Yawning Portal. For those tier 4 characters that really want to get nitty and gritty.
Yeah. Okay.
But, they come to the table wanting an adventure in action, and that's right up their alley.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the big changes coming into Season 9. There are a few things like for new characters. Mm-hmm. If you make a Tiefling or if you make an Aasimar, when you hit level 5, you can give up your racial ability for wings.
Oh.
And get a fly speed.
Okay.
Now, of course, in Season 9, it's called Avernus Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of gives a hint. You're an Avernus. Flying creatures have a unique target painted on them for hell wasps and all these other things that love to attack flying creatures. So, it's interesting, but it's an option that they're able to offer to new characters who meet the requirements in Season 9 that are able to play.
So for those that are, wanting to start something brand new for this, they've kind of said, there are some major changes coming along. Here is what we're going to do for if you want to create a new character for this season specifically.
Right. And the other big change is factions.
Factions.
So before season 8, factions were a big part. You had to be part of a faction. It was kind of like, as we kind of claimed, it was your ongoing organization that forced you to work together for a common good.
That's right.
Well, season 8 got rid of the faction agent or the factions, and saw only those who chose the safe haven background from faction agent as still members of the faction. Season 9, they've expanded factions to be beyond just the Emerald Enclave, Order of the Gauntlet, Lord's Alliance, and Zhentarim, and Emerald Enclave.
Harper's.
That was the 5th one. Harper's. I'm like, Emerald Enclave, I said twice. But they brought it beyond the base 5 to be Brigandareth.
Yep.
You can be a member of the Watchers. You can be a member of the Cloaks as an actual faction.
Okay.
So in season 2, you could rank up Cloaks. Now you can actually say, I am a Cloak. And as long as you take that safe haven background. And depending
so you still require the safe haven background.
Right. Okay. But doing so grants you boons based on your faction. You can claim a Ring of Protection from your faction at tier 1.
Yeah. But that goes against
your magic item count. But it's a great starting item to kind of give you a little boost.
Yeah, especially at tier 1, especially if you're a wizard.
Especially if you're a wizard, you're kind of squishy and soft anyway.
You got a whole whopping,
14.
14. Well,
what are you talking about?
Hit points.
Oh, yeah, hit points. I'm thinking armor class.
No, you've armor class 14. Yeah, I mean, if you got the right
spells. You got mage armor.
Yeah, you got mage armor that you can pull up there. But, your whole whopping 7 hit points.
Right.
Everything looks dangerous to a first level wizard.
Not as dangerous as it used to be in second edition.
No, this is true.
I've lived that fight. Where the wizard's like, okay, I spent my one spell. It's 9 a.m. I'm going back to bed.
Good luck, guys. Good luck. I was back here. Now I can just kind of sneak out the back door.
Right.
So what's your personal opinion on what they've done with the changes on Season 9? There was a whole lot of controversy around Season 8. The Season 9's come around. What's your personal opinion on this?
So, before I get into it, I want to explain something. I am an event coordinator. Being on great terms with the admins is always important. Mm-hmm. Being honest with the admins is more important. I have never felt a rules change in Adventures League has merited much of the negative actions that I've seen the community give these guys.
Yeah,
these folks.
I agree with that.
Having said that, Season 9 feels right. They got rid of seasonality, which was the whole, if your character isn't from this season, it doesn't get any bonuses. Mm-hmm. It doesn't get magic items. They got rid of all that. It's now, no matter when you made your character, you can play and gain magic items and gain experience from this season. But if you make a new character, there are boons just for those characters.
There's brand new ones.
Right. And they're only here for Season 9. So, yes, expect when Season 10 comes out to have new boons for Season 10 characters. And the change of the gold, where it's to a more freeform, means more DM bookkeeping. But it means if I've got that ongoing home table where we play 6 hours on a weekend, I can have the players get a big chest of gold at the end and actually feel like they did something, or I can sprinkle it out throughout the end. It's not, oh crap, I need to make sure they don't hit,
Yep.
And it really feels like they hit their stride. I wish they were faster on some of their releases of their items, of their publications for it. The Dungeon Master's Guide and Player's Handbook, they're already on version 9.1. They've already released an update, which is great because that means they're updating it.
They're updating it.
But they didn't release the frequently asked questions till a week after the season started. They haven't released the content catalog yet. You've got a lot of people who are questioning things like the bag of beans and smoke powder. But
so where these things, as far as popular opinion, there's what have you seen going through looking at all of this stuff?
Haters gonna hate. I mean, the big thing is that as we've gone about and we've seen how people are taking it. It seems like the people I'm speaking to are taking it better than they did Season 8 changes.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that you don't see people who agree with it posting on Facebook, I agree. They don't come to Twitter and they say, hey, everything's going good, just wanted to check in. Forms could be a stench cow.
Could be a what?
Stench cow.
A stench cow.
Stench cow.
What's a stench cow? I mean, cattle blah? Cattle blah blah?
No, stench cow.
What's a stench cow?
It's a cow.
Okay.
That is stinky. I tried on D&D Beyond to find where it was at. And as far as I can find, I think it's like a hell cow. But it's got charge and an aura, 5-foot aura.
Okay.
Like ghoul stench. So.
Okay.
But that was it above and beyond. I didn't want to become like a deeper, as much as I thought I could probably work it deeper off with fairy fire and charge.
Yeah. Send me the stats or tell me where to find it. The stench cow.
You can find it on D&D Beyond.
D&D
Nothing
Beyond.
can be ever easier.
D&D Beyond. We are not sponsored. Not yet.
Not yet.
Right. Okay, so
we're back.
All right, so yeah, we're back. So there was technical difficulties. Thank you for sticking by with that. So let's get back to popular opinion. So what you've seen online?
So one of the things that I want to say about popular opinion first is that love or hate it, nothing about the rules and the changes has justified the amount of negative interaction and response that the admins have had to deal with from the community. Having said that, though, no one goes on Facebook and just posts in the Adventures League group, hey, ran my first game of Descent into Avernus. Everything went well, and I have no problems with it.
Yeah.
They don't go to Twitter and say the same thing. They don't say, hey, ran the first Adventure League adventure at my local store. I love making my character using the normal rules. They don't.
Yeah.
It's just human nature.
It's human nature. If we want to complain, then we're
there.
We're jumping right on top of it. But when you want to say something nice, those are few and far between.
Right. But the feeling I've gotten, it's unique because I also have a large resource of dungeon masters who were able to ask questions from. In fact, in anticipation of talking with you today, I actually went out and asked our dungeon masters, do you guys have questions? Do you have feelings? Mm-hmm. And we got no response. We got like 2 people commenting on it.
Yeah.
But to me, that really states that there wasn't a lot of problems. There wasn't a lot of questions. It's positively found. Mm-hmm. I've always been one that says if you can't accept the rules, you don't have to play by them. If you don't want to play League and you don't want the rules from League, there is nothing wrong playing a homebrew game.
Yeah.
We had a DM. He played at a game store forever. One of the first DMs that I ran with as a convention coordinator. And about a year ago, he came to me and goes, you know what? I'm going to take a little bit of time off from running at conventions. I thought, that's great. And he stopped running AL altogether. He's never been happier.
Yeah. I
don't have any problem with that. But I think overall, people feel that Season 9 is a step in the right direction. And it's going to be, I think it's good for the community to see a lot more questions about Season 9 rules and less about why Season 9 rules.
Yeah. There was I've noticed that as well. It's questions about it, and it's not attacking. It's not so much attacking personally like it was, in the last one.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that there's been a lot more, I don't want to say positivity, because like we said, people don't really come forward with the positive, but there's not the negativity that we've seen.
Right, exactly. And that's been a big boost to my emotional well-being, because as a convention coordinator, there's certain things that just wear on you. And one of them is the players and DMs constant, an overall gloom. It's not constant badgering, because they're polite enough to not come up to you and bother you.
Yeah.
But it's just the sense that they aren't having as much fun as they could.
Yeah.
And I want people to have fun. That's why I started coordinating conventions, because I saw the DMs dealing with the conventions directly and how much drama they had to deal with. And I'm like, you know what? I can place myself there, take that drama, and let DMs what they love to do, run games for people to have fun. That also means, though, that, when people have problems with their roles, I'm usually the one they go to.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you, Derek.
Hey, thank you, Dave.
If anyone wants to get in touch with you to jump on the other side of the screen at the conventions.
So we actually piggyback off of Under the Wing Gaming. We always recommend you can message us on Facebook or Twitter. Facebook, it's Rocky Mountain RPG Guild. Twitter, it's at Rocky Mountain RPG, Mountain MTM RPG. And or find the volunteer form on underthewinggaming.com/conventions.
Yep, underthewinggaming.com. There's a nice little link. There's a tab right at the top. You can click on conventions. It'll take you to a volunteers section there.
Yep.
Feel free. You can always reach out. Derek is lead coordinator. He leads up on almost all of those conventions.
Always, I also want to plug a few things. We're going to be at TimCon, October 19th and 20th.
Mm-hmm. Coming up.
We will be, or excuse me, October 18th and 19th.
18th and 19th.
Anime Bonsai, October 18th, 19th, and 20th. These are two smaller conventions. Anime Bonsai is anime oriented, so it's more of a side show.
Mm-hmm.
TimCon, we're actually running the Mean Streets of Waterdeep, the Waterdeep Epic.
That was a fun one.
And at Anime Bonsai, you're going to be there, and we're going to be running a panel about created content. So one of the things I do like is that we're able to give local writers a chance to write adventures. You've written many of them.
I've written several adventures on DM's Guild.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. I was going to say is that you can find all the adventures that we've written under Mount Ogden on DM's Guild.
Mount Ogden Gaming.
Mount Ogden Gaming. And we encourage you, anything you buy from any of the adventures you buy from them, part of it goes back to the DMs. If you buy anything from my adventures, the anime series and the first series, the Salt series,
mm-hmm.
All of the funds that I receive go right back into gaming.
Yep.
With the DMs for rewards.
Everything that I make on the DM's Guild, it gets turned right back around into making the organization, what we bring,
right.
Trying to get as much swag as possible for any of the volunteers that come out.
Right. So. It's really tough to make sure, that's the big one. It's the admins have helped make sure now with season 8 and season 9 that we're getting some swag,
mm-hmm.
things like that. Volunteer, we are accepting volunteers for SaltCon.
Already?
The first weekend in March.
Mm-hmm.
We are already accepting them. We need to have rough numbers. We're looking for about 40 DMs.
40 DMs. So head on over, volunteer, underthewinggaming.com. You can find links. There's also going to be there will also be links to all of the new Season 9 Adventurers League stuff on there. You can find other adventures that we've written. You can find links
and your content,
to,
right?
All the content.
Your Kyber Chronicle.
Kyber Chronicle. Yep, we are working on another one that's supposed to be coming out here shortly.
Great.
So it's going to continue on through the winter months.
It's one of the few things I like about Eberron.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks again, Derek, for coming out.
Thank you.
Yep.